A very pleasant good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in to O'Neill's Grill for our weekly fan and press luncheon with JMU basketball coaches. Kenny Brooks will lead things off once again this week, and Matt Brady will be joining us in just a short while. Let's begin with the women's basketball Dukes, who since our last outing here went 1-1 this past week. They went on the road facing the Seahawks of UNC Wilmington last Thursday, won that ball game 85-49. And then yesterday, falling to the Pride of Hofstra, 63-62 was the final. Coach Kenny Brooks now joined us, and everybody certainly has their angle on that game yesterday. But Coach Brooks, if you'll share with us your thoughts on the loss yesterday to the Pride of Hofstra.
It was disappointing. I mean, obviously we want to go out and play our best each and every game. The whole weekend was out of character. Leading up to the game, we're all creatures of habit, just all athletes, probably all teams. And Saturday, with Mother Nature causing havoc, across the Shenandoah Valley, we just weren't able to practice, wasn't able to even see the kids to try to implement a game plan. And we came out Sunday morning and, a little bit off. The game got pushed back an hour. We were trying to, almost like cramming for a test. We were trying to implement the game plan during walkthrough, and we came out and just from the get-go, we weren't ourselves. We didn't play well at all. From a defensive standpoint, I thought it was probably our worst defensive effort that we've had all year, collectively. At first glance, during the course of the game, I thought a lot of it was our post defense and our post production. And then I watched the film, and it was a collective effort. We just didn't play well, from our guards to our posts. We didn't communicate. You give credit to Hofstra; they took advantage of those miscommunications. And in retrospect, looking at it all, I think they outplayed us. They played harder than we did. I felt like they won the 50-50 ball battle. They made plays. They stepped up, made free throws when we went 1 for 2 from the free throw line. So we scratched and we clawed and we tried to get back into the game. And again, at first glance, I was very proud of the fact that they didn't hang their heads. But I even thought during that stretch where we were making the run, we made some critical errors that precluded us from overcoming the deficit and getting the win. So it is what it is. It's a loss. We're disappointed, but it's sport, and we have another opportunity on Friday, and we'll get back at it. One game doesn't make the season. Sometimes it's a little unfair, as a mid-major that, your margin of error is almost slim to none. But we have a lot of basketball left, and we'll approach it that way, and we know we didn't play well. And we'll get better. We'll get better. We have an extra day this week to prepare, and it's going to be a challenge this week. We got to get back to our winning way of playing JMU basketball.
Going back to the first time you played Hofstra when you were on the road, the fans, you did have a good fan group there, of course. You typically do when you play there on Long Island. Can you compare Hofstra the first time you played them to yesterday's ball game? You said that they were certainly the team winning the 50-50, and they gained a little bit of confidence possibly because they cut into your pretty large lead there at Hempstead the first go-round.
Well, we can speculate all we want whether that game, boosted their confidence or whatever. I just think there was just a game of that day where they played harder than we did. And they won the 50-50 ball. Things went their way a lot of times. And sometimes you have to make your own luck, and we didn't do that. I thought we were slow to the basketball a lot. We were uncharacteristic. We went to an unconventional lineup, played 5 guards for most of the second half, and I thought that wore our kids down a little bit. But you can always look back and look. Hindsight's 20/20, and change some things that we did. But just ultimately, we just didn't have it yesterday. Yesterday wasn't our day, and we came out. We did not play well, and I thought they played harder than we did, and as a result, they came away with the victory.
Well, you had a similar circumstance last year. It was about this time of the year where you had your only conference loss. You bounced back from that pretty good, and it's just a matter of doing that once again.
Well, you want to get better every day, and I really don't think that a loss is going to change our mindset. I think, if anything, it proves to you that you got to come out and you got to play well every night. Does it motivate us anymore? No, we were motivated. We just didn't play well. We had, again, I thought a lot of it was we didn't get point production from the post area. When I watched the film, our guards didn't play well either. Angela Mickens, I thought, struggled. She took some ill-advised shots. She didn't control the tempo like I needed her to do, and she's done that, throughout the whole season. Yesterday wasn't her day. Precious Hall, I thought she forced the issue a little bit, but she probably felt like she had to because we weren't getting point production elsewhere. We just had so many things where we were in a panic yesterday. We were in a panic yesterday because we wanted it so bad. We were playing so hard, trying to just will ourselves to win without doing it the way we've been doing it for the 23 games, 23 wins we've had all season. So. Yesterday, I just thought that we didn't keep our poise. It's my job now to reel them back in and make them understand that we have a lot of basketball left and there's no time for panic just because you lose one basketball game.
All right, let's turn over to other members of the media here at O'Neill's Grill with our weekly Fan and Press Luncheon with JMU women's basketball coach Kenny Brooks.
What was the lesson learned from yesterday in terms of moving forward? And you're going to get into that situation, especially in the postseason, where you're not going to even know who you're going to play, less than 24 hours out from a game.
Well, no, I don't think that'll have bearing. You talking about alluding to the tournament when we get into the tournament situation? We'll be able to prepare. Hofstra's sitting in a hotel with their team. We're at home and we can't bring our team together. We can't even talk to our kids. We're really just trying to wait out the weather. It didn't happen. So Sunday morning. They got an hour, we got an hour, and we're trying to not only shake off a little bit of rust because they haven't shot the basketball in 36 hours to actually implementing a game plan. And I don't know. I don't know if it really had that much bearing on it, but we had a lot of miscommunication. We didn't understand, a lot of the scheme and whatnot. But we'll learn from it to understand that, hey, we have to play better. We didn't play well at all yesterday, and we need to play better and get refocused and come back out. And we have a lot of basketball left to play.
What did you hope some of your younger players or even newer players got from, learning how to come back after a loss?
Well, I'll let you know in a couple days. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen them all day. It stung. It stung. And as I alluded to earlier, when you're a mid-major, you're hanging on. It's almost like every game you play, you don't have much to gain, but you have a whole lot to lose. And when you get to that point and, you're starting to scramble and it becomes a game, that they want it so bad, that sometimes they did some things out of character. But, again, it's my job to reel them back in. And, it's a loss. Some people will say, is it a good loss? I don't believe in that. I don't believe in good losses. Did we learn a lesson? Yeah. We learned a lesson, but we also learned a lesson on Thursday night when we played against UNC Wilmington. So every game's a learning process, and we'll get back at it. We just have to understand that we need that balance. Yesterday Precious took 26 shots. I think for the last few games, no one had taken more than 13. But we just didn't have that balance, and I think we lost a lot of confidence in each other, and we weren't playing for each other, and we have to get back to that.
Coach, it does get kind of lost in the shuffle that you did beat a Wilmington team pretty handily. You scored 49 points in the second half. Are there things from each game you can pull up side by side and say, here's what we did against Wilmington that we weren't doing so much against Hofstra?
Yeah, I think you have to because if not, if you're trying to play game by game, you're allowing your opponent to dictate, your philosophy, your offense, and whatnot. Did they play us differently? Yeah, they played us differently. But I think one of the main keys is we got some production, balanced production in the UNC Wilmington game. We weren't getting that balanced production in the Hofstra game, and then things just kind of snowballed, and we got tight. And then we just start really trying to put our heads down. We didn't adjust to the way the game was being officiated, and I think that you have to do that. I really felt ourselves and myself even having to calm some of the kids down because they felt like they weren't getting some of the calls, and you can't play like that because then you allow emotion to set in. And that dictates how you're going to play the rest of the basketball game. So we learned a lot. The coaches have learned a lot. We'll relay that to the kids when we watch film tomorrow.
It had been a while since you lost this season, but you had 2 previous losses prior to this. How did your team respond then? How much time did you have to coach them up coming out of those losses?
Well, they're totally different circumstances. We lost to Maryland, and we had less than 24 hours, and we played Houston the next day. So we didn't really have a whole lot of time to dwell on it. And then we lost to Vanderbilt, and we were able to put that behind us because we had the CAA conference starting. And you know, again, it's a loss. You know, and in retrospect, you're looking at everything. You know, last I checked, we're still 23-3. You know, we won. You can spin it a lot of different ways. We won 23 out of 26 games. We won 14 out of our last 15. You know, we just can't dwell on the fact that we have a one-game losing streak, and so you tip your cap. You tip your cap. Hofstra did some things to us, and but you know, I can bet you if we were allowed to bet in the NCAA that our kids would love to play them again. Would love to play them again, and we'll come back. We'll come back. We'll bounce back. Part of the success of this team is the resiliency. They'll come back, you know, motivated, and I look forward to it. Look forward to it. And again, it's my job to make sure we stay on the same page.
In that rally to come back in that attempt to rally back from behind yesterday, you mentioned some of the critical mistakes. Well, what were some of those?
We you know, during that time, during that stretch. We were expending so much energy on the defensive end. I thought we kind of lost our minds a little bit on the offensive end. We took some ill-advised shots. You know, Precious took a couple. Muff took a ill-advised three-point attempt when we had cut the lead down. We get the offensive rebound, and Haley Barron takes her first 10-foot jump shot of her career when we probably should have pulled it out. But, you know, again, we'll watch film. We'll watch film, and we'll get better from that situation. But Muff penetrated a lot. She missed probably, you know, 5 layups that she would normally, you know, make. So it's just a lot. You know, a lot of mistakes. Defensively, we didn't battle a lot. We were switching, and they rolled us in, and we were looking to for someone to bail us out as opposed to sitting there and playing defense. We missed a couple of switches where we left a shooter wide open, and just miscommunication. 50-50 balls. You know, we watched it. We even slow-moed them a lot, and we're wondering to ourselves, why didn't that kid get that, you know, loose ball? Why didn't they get that steal? And it's just because we were just off. We were just off and didn't play well. You know, but I thought our crowd was great. You know, when we gave them something to play for. You know, during probably the first 25 minutes, 28 minutes of the game, we didn't give them much to cheer about. And once we got into a little bit of run, I think that place was as loud as I've heard it in a very long time. So it's just, again, it's sport. You know, Hofstra has, I think, 15 kids on scholarship just like we do. Their coaches get paid. They practice. You know, they prepare, and they put the ball in the basket just a little bit more than we did yesterday. And so we have to let it sting. It stung like crazy for me last night. I think I watched 5 episodes of Law and Order. And just wanted to veg out. I actually watched Crimson Tide twice and American Gangster once, and about 5 episodes of Law and Order. So I can give you a recap of everything that happened in Crimson Tide, brushing up on that. But, you know, it's just, you have to put it out of your mind. You know, I got home, and I have wonderful children, and I don't even know if they know we lost, you know, because they were still questioning me and throwing questions, you know, just like I'm daddy. And finally I had to start answering them, you know, and snap out of it. So that's what we have to do to our kids, get them to snap out of it, and we'll be fine.
Did you get the sense yesterday in that locker room that it sung a lot more so than the other 2 losses this season?
Yeah. I mean, some kids a little bit more emotional than others. Some kids get into their own little bubble of, you know, what did I do, or, you know. But we'll snap them back out. We'll be a team again tomorrow when we're watching film, and we'll talk about things from a team concept and what we have to do to get better.
That's interesting. Kenny, I heard a conversation afterwards. It happened right behind me. It was actually your wife, Chrissy, talking to Precious Hall. And it brings to mind, she was being a coach herself and being, of course, a mother of 3 daughters and everything. How influential can Chrissy be to your players? She's
very influential to them. I mean, she's a good cop, you know, especially when I'm bad cop. And they actually. Is
it that way at home too?
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, she's fantastic. She does a good job of, you know, again, we get wrapped up into it a lot from a standpoint of we're hanging on everything. You know, and again, as I alluded to earlier, being a mid-major, you don't have a large room for error, and so every possession, every game, just hurts so much. And she lives it with me. She does, but she's also trying to talk me off the ledge when I'm downing myself. She'll talk the kids off the ledge when they're downing themselves. She just has a different perspective and more of a motherly type deal, protector type deal, and I know she whispers to him sometimes, well, he just means this or he just means that, and they love her. They love her. I do too, and she does a great job of really help balancing the whole situation.
Well, it wasn't a real deep counseling session, I might say, but it was just something to, because she did miss a three-pointer, she did miss that free throw in the last 40 seconds as well. So she was just basically saying, you can't hold this. This is not your situation; it's a team situation. So.
Yeah, I go to my daughter's games, and she's the biggest fan. She's the biggest fan, whether it's rooting for the Dukes or rooting for Spotswood Trailblazers, and she does a good job. Really, she's epitomizes the word or the phrase "coach's wife," and she understands it, understands the sacrifices, and and how we eat, sleep, live it. And she does a really good job of helping me balance it and really being a little sounding board for the kids, no matter what the situation is.
Northeastern is next on the agenda. It's a Friday night. You mentioned you have an extra day, just by the way the schedule is laid out to prepare for this next ball game. Per typical in the CAA schedule. You beat the Huskies on the road, 77-55, a place where you have to kind of make your own energy. But tell us a little bit about the Huskies, what you might anticipate of them coming in here on Friday.
I think they're better than their record indicates. They're a dangerous basketball team. They've been in a lot of basketball games. They have a new coaching staff that they're trying to adjust to in a different way, which is totally different than the previous regime. And they're close. They're going to be a very dangerous basketball team. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. We don't have a whole lot of games left. But it could be a signature win for them. They're going to come in and really play their hearts out, and not with a whole lot to lose. And those are the dangerous type basketball teams. They have players. They're not a team that just lacks in talent. They have good guard play, senior veteran guards, good young players inside, and it's just a matter of they really get it going on a given night. They can really cause some problems. It just hasn't happened very many times. And but we have to worry about ourselves, Kurt, and that's what we're really going to focus on. And we could be playing the Cleveland Cavaliers on Friday, and I wouldn't matter. We have to shore up some things on our end to make sure that we're playing at our top level. And so we'll get to that, and we're looking forward to it. And, it's funny, I was going to make a reference to the Lakers, but they're not very good right now, so, so I had to change that philosophy up.
All right, so the Dukes this week, they'll be at home against the Huskies of Northeastern. That's a 7 o'clock tip-off at the Convocation Center on Friday. And then a quick turnaround. They'll hit the road on Saturday, travel up to Newark, I trust, then, and we'll face the Delaware Blue Hens on Sunday in the rematch there, a 2 o'clock contest, and then back at home to wrap up the regular season on the 4th of March against the College of Charleston. We'll have senior night that evening as we look ahead a little bit. And then the Showplace Arena, the host site of the CAA Championships on March the 12th through the 15th. Well, Coach Brooks, thank you for joining us this week. Enjoy your extra day of preparation, and we'll see you on Friday at the JMU Convocation Center.
Like a makeup day of preparation.